What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be showing you how to use a bait caster. This is a bigger bait caster. You have different size bait casters. This is the bait caster that I use for bass. This is the bait caster that I use for when I'm targeting bigger fish like catfish, or you can use it for saltwater, targeting bigger fish out in the ocean, things like that. So first thing is, when you got a bait caster, when you get a new one, every bait caster is going to have this here dial. This dial here and this dial here. This dial here is for your drag, and then this dial here is for your brakes. So all bait casters have, well, most bait casters have centrifugal brakes with inside of the mechanisms, inside the gears. So this dial, you want to adjust this dial all the way down, as tight as it'll go. All right. So take that all the way down. Unhook it. And then what that does is, when you cast it out, or when you release it, not cast it out, but when you release it, it'll make your line slowly drop. And this one's dropping a little bit faster, even with it being all the way tightened down, because I have a 5-ounce weight on there. So it's kind of heavy, as you can see here, 5 ounce. So it's still gonna drop regardless of how tight I have it, because there's so much weight on it. But what that does is it tightens it down to where when you hit your release button, your line shouldn't move at all. And then what you want to do is you want to slowly bring that dial back, open it up, slowly open it up to where your line slowly starts to drop. What you want to look for, your line, if I can get it to steady, I'll hold it. You want your line to slowly drop like that. And that's how you'll know that it's dialed in right. You want your line to slowly drop. You don't want it to drop fast. And like I said, this one's going to drop fast if I let it go, because I have a 5-ounce weight on it. But if I didn't have a 5-ounce weight on it, it would slowly drop. And that's where you want it at. That's how you can get a better cast, and not backlash as much. So now that we got it dialed, I want to take a brief second just to talk about these right here, these beauties. This is a word from our sponsor. So if you any hook needs that you have, go to bigrobfishing.com. These hooks are literally the sharpest hooks in the world. Every single hook is hand sharpened with love and craftsmanship that I've never seen before. Not only that, not only is it hand sharpened and they're the sharpest hooks in the world, but also Big Rob makes these hooks with this shrink tube on it. And anybody that uses braided line or different types of hooks, especially bigger hooks, this I believe is a 6-aught or a 7-aught. Anybody that uses these types of bigger hooks knows that where the hook bends and meets together, there's a gap there sometimes, and your line will slip through that gap, and it'll cause you to lose a fish. So what Big Rob does is he puts the shrink tube at the top of the hook. That way that gap is not exposed to where your line can't slide off of it. Go check these out. bigrobfishing.com. Go check him out. All your hook needs. He's got not only big hooks, he's got small hooks for panfish. He's got bigger hooks than these. He's got 6-aught, 7-aught, 10-aught, size 8. Smaller hooks for bait fish, for bluegill, or for panfish. Check them out. bigrobfishing.com. I'm gonna drop it down in the comment section, or in the description. bigrobfishing.com. Use promo code Dave's Outdoor World, and to save you 15% off of your order. And everybody knows, with the way the economy is right now, everybody wants to save money. Use promo code Dave's Outdoor World, save you 15%. Boom. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. So what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna put some bait on this hook. Today we're gonna be using night crawlers. So I'm gonna put some bait on this hook, and I'm gonna show you how I cast it out. So I got my night crawler on there, threaded the hook through the night crawler. All right, so now we're ready to cast it out. What you want to do is put your thumb on the spool. That way, when you push your release, all your line doesn't run down. Put your thumb on your spool, hit your release button. You're gonna bring it back and angle it to where you want to cast it, where you want it at, and you're gonna aim for where your target is, where you want it to land. Now, what you want to do is you want to sling it in one motion. Go from the back straight to the front, one motion. And what you want to do is you want to watch your bait, and as your bait starts to fall and it slowly gets ready to hit the water, put your thumb back on that spool to slow it down a little bit, because when you sling it, it's going to fly. So you want to slow that spool down a little bit as it gets ready to hit the water. That way it prevents backlashing. So I'll show you. I got it open, got the bail open, got my thumb on the spool, we're ready to cast. So I'm slinging it out, boom. Put my thumb back on that spool, slow it down. Look at that. Perfect cast, no backlash. That's what you want to do. That's how you use a bait caster. Then you just tighten your line up, set it down, and then you wait for a takedown. Now, like I said earlier, with that dial is very important. You have to adjust that dial, because if you don't, it doesn't matter if you put your thumb on the spool to slow it down or not. If that dial's wide open, you're gonna backlash. You're gonna bird nest, it's gonna be a mess. Your line's gonna be all tangled up, and you're gonna spend 15-20 minutes unraveling it all to get the knots out and get it all out, and then have to spool it back on. That dial is very, very, very important. Tighten it all the way down, hit your release, let your line sit there, and then slowly loosen that dial. Slowly loosen that dial until your line starts to drop slow. Once it drops to at a constant speed, at a constant pace, that's where you want to leave your dial set at. That's where you want to leave your brakes, and you're ready to cast. It's that simple. It's that simple. A lot of people, they look at bait casters and they get overwhelmed, or they overthink it. It's not that complicated. It does not have to be that complicated. As long as you set your brakes right and you keep your thumb on that spool and slowly slow it down as your bait starts to hit the water, you're fine. You're fine. Now, occasionally you'll have a backlash, or a small backlash occasionally. And I've been using bait casters for quite some time, for years, and I even still have backlashes sometimes, but they're not that bad. They're maybe just a couple string, a couple loose strings, and then a couple pulls, boom, I'm done. It's no unspooling the whole spool, because your whole thing is just blown up. It's not like that. That brake is extremely important. You have to set that dial. You'll be fine. That simple. Now, we're going to sit here and wait for a takedown. I hope this video was informative and helped somebody out. I had somebody request for me to do this video on how to use a bait caster, the do's and the don'ts. So your do's, make sure you set your brakes. The don'ts, don't leave your brake wide open. Do's, when you go to cast, keep your thumb on that reel, keep your thumb on the spool. And when you watch your bait get ready to hit the water, slowly put your thumb back on that spool to slow it down. Don't just hold it with one hand, open up the release, and then just sling it out there and just let it go. You're gonna have a mess. You got to ease your thumb back on that spool to slow it down. But like I said, I hope this video was informative. Hope it helps somebody out. I hope it helps somebody get over their fear of using bait casters. drop down in the comment section if there's something that I missed, or if you want me to do another video or on this topic, or something else. Drop down in the comment section, let me know. I'll see you on the next one.